Hello class, this is the review lesson on review lesson for the exam number 3. So let us try to look into this one together. So hypotenuse of the right triangle is 6. Now hypotenuse is 6. In Pythagorean theorem, then in that case 6 has to be stand by itself. And 5 and the other leg, we can call it as x. They have to be the other side of the equal sign together. And here we have 25 plus x squared must be equal to 36. So when you subtract 25 from each side, x squared must be equal to 11. Then here, to find the value of x, we have to take the square root of 11. Therefore, our answer will be choice number 3. Alright, let us move on to the second question. So here we have, this is 75, this is 35. We want to find out angle AGE. AGE, this means this angle. That is our question mark. But in fact, by vertical angle, this must be equal to this angle, BGF. But since those three angles makes up 180 degrees, so we can say that 75 plus the question mark plus 35 must be equal to 180. Now, then of course question mark must be equal to plus 110 must be equal to 180. Therefore, the question mark must be equal to 70. Alright, therefore choice number 4. Alright, number 3, the legs of the right triangle has the measure of, these are the legs, then what is the length of the hypotenuse? So here basically what they're saying is this. One side is 9, and then right angle, the other leg is 12, and then we call this one as x. Then once you can set it up as 9 squared plus 12 squared must be equal to x squared. Now once you calculate this one, this becomes 81 plus 144 equals, here we end up getting 225 must be equal to x squared. And of course, when you take the square root on both sides, x must be equal to 15. So therefore, our answer is choice number 3. Alright, number 4, supplement. That means they have to add up to 180. That means what we have to end up getting is 180 minus 3x. Because they have to add up to 180, that means if one angle is 3x, the other one angle must be subtracting 3x from 180. So therefore, our answer will be choice number 3 again. Alright. Number 5. How many integer values of x are there? So as we talked about it, this one, the x has to be between two values. Less than sum, but greater than the difference. Then here what we have? X has to be less than 13, but greater than 3. And we're looking at it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Total 9 numbers. So number 2 would have been our final answer. And number 6. So here we have in a triangle ABC, AB is congruent to CB, and D is the midpoint of AC. That means the other two line segments will be equal to each other. Is AE congruent to CE? Now, in order for us to see that one, we needed to figure out a couple of things here, because by this side, by this triangle being having two congruent sides, this line BM is not only a median but also angle bisector. So we get to realize that this angle must be equal to this angle. Not only that, it's altitude, so therefore these two angles also equal to each other. Now, then, another thing we get to realize is that since the small line segment portion is congruent reflexive, we know that ADE triangle must be congruent to CDE. That means AE and then CE are congruent by CP, So therefore our answer would be number 1, yes. Number 7 here is AD congruent to, in this line segment, congruent to BF. Now this question, because we didn't talk about the rhombus yet, we can skip this question and we'll continue to talk about it later in the semester. Alright, number 8. Here, do you see the parallel lines? That means angle X and angle W must be equal to each other by alternate interior angles. Now, so therefore, not only X but also W has to be 68 degrees. Now Y has to be equal to 117 degrees, which leaves us the other angle as 63. Now, but if you have to look at it, angle Z must be an exterior angle for this triangle, so therefore Z must be sum of two array angles. So 68 plus 63. And which you end up getting 131. Which will be choice 1. Alright, next, number 9. So here we have angle A and angle E are congruent. And angle C is the midpoint of AE. That means AC and then CE must be equal to each other. As soon as you see this one, you will realize that these two vertical angles will be equal to each other. That means we have angle, side angle, angle, side angle. Choice number 3 would have been our answer, therefore. Alright, so let us look at number 10. Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. That means you will realize that this must be 145. But angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, then angle 2 must be also 35 as the other one, which makes angle 3 as 35. And then what is the measure of angle 3? Yes, it is equal to 35. Alright, here we have right angle. So this is 90-degree angle right here. Angle M is the midpoint of TP, so that means this line segment is equal to this line segment. Once again, one other thing we get to realize, pair of vertical angles. They will be equal to each other. So you will realize that angle, side will be our theorem that which we can use to prove those two triangles congruent to each other. Alright, next. We talked about this one today. You see the sum of two sides has to be greater than the third. But you can see that number 1 is not the case because 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. It should be greater than 8, not equal to 8. So therefore you cannot, that's right, this cannot represent the length. Only thing which you could actually do that would have been choice number 3. Because 3 plus 5 has to be greater than 7, which it is, because 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. Alright, choice number 3. Number 13, we have BD is both median and altitude. Median, that means these two line segments will be equal to each other, and then altitude. Now, as soon as you realize that between triangle ABD and CBD, we realize that BD is reflexive. That means those two triangles are congruent, which allows us to say BA must be equal to BC. So therefore, yes, they are congruent to each other. Now in triangle, angle A is 40 degrees, and measure of the exterior angle at vertex B is 120, so we have this is equal to 120. B. I can be right here, which is 40 degrees. Now the question is, what is the longest side? In fact, I'm just going to mention this one, but this will not be on the exam this time, but it will be on the exam next time. Because this angle is 40 and then exterior angle is 120, which makes this angle to be 80. And while this one is 60. You see the longest side can be always found in a triangle that is opposite from the biggest angle, which is this one. Opposite of the biggest angle will be side AB. So therefore, number 1 would have been our answer. All right, here we go. So how are we going to do this one? If you have to draw a vertical line, the parallel line, we can assume a couple of nice things here. This is 2x, that makes this one is 2x. This one is 3x, this one is also 3x. That means 2x plus 3x plus 60 must be equal to 180. That means when you combine them together, 5x must be equal to 120. And at the end, x must be equal to, dividing 120 by 5, we get 24. So x equals 24. Choice number 2. All right, number 16. This one also, you guys get to skip it. Now, number 17. Here, if this one, we get to realize that 3y plus 6y must be equal to 180. That means 9y must be equal to 180, which makes y must be equal to 20 by dividing by 9. Then you will realize that here, in order for you to have this exterior angle to be 3x, then sum of the two remote angles must be equal to 3x. Well, if this is 2x, then what do you realize? This must be equal to, this is equal to 2y, so the other one must be 2y y also, so that our sum becomes 3y. Question is, what is the measure of angle A? This is simply y, then we get to have 20 degrees, which is choice number 3. All right, a straight string of a kite is making an angle with the elevation from the ground 60 degrees. All right, essentially what they're talking about is this. Here we have 60-degree angle, and then 400 feet. The string is 400 feet. What is the best approximation of the height of the kite? Height of the kite will be this one. And when you look into the measurement, because you see 60-degree angle in a right triangle, then the other angle must be equal to 30. So we have 400, in fact, is equal to opposite of 2 radical x. 2x. Then this side will be equal to x, and here we have x radical 3. But obviously x will be equal to 200, and our question mark will be 200 radical 3. If you have to multiply them and approximate it, it will become about 350. The choice number 4. Alright, so number 19 here. We have an equilateral triangle. Now, height is 2 radical 3. So this one is 2 radical 3. Alright, then if you think about it, this is actually a pretty nice question, because the ratio between 30, 16, and the triangle would have been x, where this is x radical 3, and this becomes 2x. And in that case, we realize the value of x must be equal to 2, because we can set them equal to each other. Then x equals 2, then one side becomes 4. Since one side is equal to 4, we have 3 sides, 4, 4, 4. Our answer for perimeter becomes 12. Alright. Now here we have 6, here we have 10. What is the value of h basically? What we can do is we can set it up. 6 squared plus h squared is equal to 10 squared. Now we can do that and calculate that. But another thing which we can do is this must be 3, 4, 5 triangle. You see this is double of 3 and this double of 5, then this must be double of 4, which also becomes 8. So one way or the other, we can figure out h will be equal to 8. Alright, number 21. So a 39-foot ladder must be placed so that the top of the ladder will reach a point in the house 36 feet from the ground. Now, what we are looking for here is imagine this is the 39-foot long ladder, and you want to reach 36. Then how much should you be taking out from the base of the house? So in this case, what we can do is we can set up the Pythagorean theorem. We have 39 squared equals x squared plus 36 squared. In fact, you will realize that once you have done this one, you will get x must be equal to 15. Now, how else can you think about this one? There's another ratio. Let's go 5, 12, 13 triangle. You see each side of these two has to be tripled. Therefore, 5 also has to be tripled. That means x equals 15. One way or the other, we got the answer. All right, number 22. Here we're trying to notice that we're trying to simply add a and d. But once you think about it, when you add up a plus b and then plus c plus d, you'll realize that this becomes quite a nice number, because a plus b is 180, because those two makes up a straight line. So is cd, so this becomes 360. But at the same time, we realize that b plus c. What is b plus c? Because it's in a right triangle, we get to realize that b plus c could only be 90. Then, subtracting 90 from each side, you will realize that a plus b must be equal to 270, which is choice number 4. Here we have 30, 60, 90 triangle, and given that this is 17, then how can we get this? You see, one thing that which we get to realize is this. In a triangle 30, 60, 90, this will be x radical 3, and then this one is x, and this one is 2x. Because they are already using x. How about this one? Why don't we assume that instead of x, let's use a different variable so that we don't get confused. We can call this one as maybe a radical 3, and then 2a. And here we have, in place of a radical 3, we have 17, so a square root of 13 is equal to 17, or a square root of 3. Now divide by square root of 3. We get to realize that a is equal to 17 over 3. Now, then, double of that becomes 34 square root of 3. Now, that becomes our answer, here and here. Alright, let us move on. Now, in this case, what many people would have tend to do is they would have drawn this diagonal of the base, and then realizing that the diagonal of the base will make a right angle with this height, and then so therefore what many people tend to do is they tend to do Pythagorean theorem twice. We can definitely do that. Another thing which we can do is this. The distance formula in 3D would be square root of a squared plus b squared plus c squared. Now, if you apply this formula to this equation, we end up getting 3 squared plus 4 squared plus 8 squared. Then once you have done it, then this will be uh, square root of 25, and then 25 plus 64, and square root of 89. And once you calculate this one, that will become our answer. All right, this is another great question. This is 4 and 5. That means this must be equal to 3. Notice 3 for 5 triangle. Now, then this is 3, but did you also realize that 3 happened to be its hypotenuse? And then we want to find out the value of x. So then we have 3 squared is equal to 1 squared plus x squared. And we can simply subtract this, where 3 squared becomes 9, 9 minus 1 becomes 8, which is equal to x squared. And then x then must be equal to about 2.8-ish. That becomes our answer. Now, number 26. Number 26 is actually, we talked about this concept one time, or maximum 2 or so, where medians trisect each other. Meaning if this portion is x, then you're going to have 2x here. If this portion is a, you see the point away from vertex, point towards the side. If that is a, then point towards the vertex will be 2a. And so is here. If you have c as the distance between x and then d, then you get 2c on the other side. So by using this one thing that we will end up getting is 2x plus x must be equal to 6. That is the beginning of this question. All right, great. Have a nice day. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.